You are suffering in your life right now because you want to, and you want it that way. If that angers you or if that triggers you, this is the perfect video for you. I'm going to share with you a story about Stoicism that will help give you a perspective on what's happening in your life and will actually help you realize that what you're going through could be the blessing in disguise that you've been waiting for your entire life, and that there's an important choice that you must make to finally end the suffering in your life once and for all. So the story I'm going to share with you is based on a true story, and it's based on a book called 36 Days. And it's about a Brazilian pilot who crash landed his plane in the middle of the Amazon jungle. And the particular area that he crashed into, according to the locals, is called the Green Hell, which is about a couple hundred kilometers outside of civilization and any sort of help. And so you can imagine he was faced with every possible danger and challenge that you can imagine, whether it be poisonous plants, insects, thick green brush that you had to cut through in order to walk through, all the dangerous wilderness, and on top of that, having to fight off hunger and dehydration. Now, in his book, one of the things that he mentions that he hated the most, that he complained about the most, was the non-stop rain that kept coming down, that was making it very difficult to travel, but also even sleep at night. So you can imagine it was a very difficult journey that he had to go on in order to find help and try to survive in the middle of the Green Hell. So this went on for about 36 days. And by the 36th day, as he kept walking, he all of a sudden came across a local tribe. And it just so happened that this tribe was farming in that particular area for Brazil nuts. And so when he made contact with that tribe, they were able to bring him back to camp, get him in touch with the authorities. He explained everything that happened, and eventually he was reunited with his family. And what's interesting about this particular story is that he mentioned that when he got back to camp, one of the ladies from the tribe said, "You know, you're very lucky." And he said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "We're not from around here. You know, the storm, the rain that kept coming down pushed us away, forced us to leave where we currently live, which is about 100 kilometers away, very far away. And so in order to escape that, we had to come all the way here, and we had to find food because of the flooding." And so that one thing that he was cursing the most throughout the past 36 days ended up being the one thing that led to his rescue and his survival in such a dire situation. So when you hear the story, there's a lot of things that you can take away from this. And there's no doubt that life is hard, life is not fair, but it's always easier to choose being a victim in your life versus being the hero. In my particular situation, when I went through my divorce, for at least a couple years, I was playing the victim. I found life very hard. I was angry at my ex. I was angry at her family. I was angry at the unfair divorce laws in North America. I was even angry at myself for making those mistakes. And after talking to my friends, especially my brother, it was really my brother who helped me get to this conclusion. How many times I would call him in anger and just trying to vent. And one day he just said, "Do you like feeling this way? It sounds like you like being depressed and being angry all the time." I'm like, "No." And it made me realize that, you know what, I'm actually doing this to myself. And for many men that are suffering, there's no doubt that what you're going through, whether it's a breakup, a job loss, or a significant event that has set you back in life, there's no doubt that that's difficult. And yes, there's a time and a place to get emotional, to get angry. It's only natural because you're human. But if you continue to choose to be the victim in your life, you're going to keep suffering, and you're not going to be able to move your life forward. You have a choice that you have to make, and this important choice that will help end the suffering in your life. And this is the conclusion that really helped me understand my true power and to find my freedom again in life, is surrender. Now, there's a lot of negative connotations with surrender. For some people, they think surrender is waving the white flag and giving up in life. That's not what I'm saying at all. Surrender in this case is actually surrendering to the things that are out of your control. Think about it, like that guy could not control the rain. But after the fact, after meeting that lady and hearing the story, do you think he would have realized that the rain was actually helping him all along? Sometimes you don't know how life is going to unfold, and you need to surrender to the universe and allow it to unfold in the way that it is, because know that there is better things waiting for you on the other side. But when you try to fight what is naturally occurring, what is out of your control, that is what is causing your suffering. And that's what caused me to suffer for many years. I was trying to fight the system. I was trying to fight my ex and her family in my mind, and it was causing a living hell for me for quite a long period. And when I finally surrendered, accepted, forgave, and finally decided to just focus on moving forward, that's when my life started to change. So if you're in a dark place right now and you are suffering, it might be an indication that you need to surrender to your fate. And looking back, yes, divorce is a very devastating experience for anybody to go through. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. But if I hadn't gone through that entire experience, I would not have gone on this journey that has led to me transforming into the absolute best version of my life and enjoying and thriving in life again. But the only way that I could only get here was I first had to make that choice to surrender and realize that I can only focus on what I can control, and I just need to let go of what's taken care of by the universe, the government, my ex. I can't control how she thinks, none at all. And it's funny, when you look at your life from that perspective, you'll start to see that there's someone out there who's on your side and making sure that you are getting to the place that you need to be. And it's funny how life just works out that way. And you just have to trust that as long as you focus on you and focus on moving your life forward and improving yourself and making things better, then everything else around you will start to change over time. And it's amazing transformation and a journey to be on. If there's one thing that I want to share with you, there's a story about water buffalo and storms that might help you understand why this is so important to have this kind of approach. And so out of all wildlife in nature, whenever there's a storm happens, all of the animals tend to run away to hide versus buffalo, water buffalo. And this species in particular, whenever there's a storm, instead of running away from the storm, they run right into the storm. And you might be questioning, well, are they freaking crazy? Like, why? And the answer is actually very simple. They've realized that if you run into the storm, it means you're not going to stay in the storm very long. You're going to get to the other side and get to clearer pastures a lot quicker versus just standing around and being stagnant and waiting for it to pass over you. So there's another analogy that helps to understand that whatever storm you're going through, you need to surrender and face it head on. Because the longer that you sit there and have pity for yourself and wallow in despair, the more that you're going to continue to suffer and hold your life back. It's your own doing. And so I hope this message resonates with you. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. But if you are going through a dark time, I'm sending thoughts and prayers to you, brothers. Thank you again for watching my video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Peace out.